Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH The Flame Emperor episode number 57 based on novel. So let's start. No, stop him now, he wants to collect the Ghost Emperor's soul. I finally killed the twin Ghost Emperors and made their soul appear. If this soul is lost, another Ghost Emperor will also be born. Chang Yu shouted. After Chang Yu finished speaking, Hu Du, Wu Jiang, and Xiao Yu on the ground also rushed towards the sky. After Chang Yu finished speaking, he also surrounded Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying behind him. After all, no matter what, these people are the best seedlings in this point-grabbing competition, and no mistakes are allowed. It is strange to say that Mu Yingying's azure flame just now actually followed the attack of the 7-star Do Emperor powerhouse of the man in black, which made Xiao Yang quite puzzled, but watching Mu Yingying display 9 azure flames, I didn't think much about their ups and downs in the future. Seeing this, the 9 Souls Monument and Chang Yu exchanged glances, then turned towards the man in black with the strength of the 7-star Do Emperor, trying to stop it. Absolutely can't let him take the Ghost Emperor's soul away. Otherwise it's going to be a big trouble. After the 9 Souls Monument finished speaking, the speed soared. Although they had little Do Chi left in their bodies at this time, they were still 7-star Do D powerhouses, and just now, Xiao Yang also gave them some medicinal pills. The vindictive energy in the body has also recovered a lot. Those who block me. Death. The black man also said angrily. The 2 black people are Yuquan and Hongye. It's just that Yuquan didn't find it. After Yuquan used the secret method to devour the evil yin at Hankai, although Yochuan's strength soared to the level of a 7-star Do Emperor, his Xinxing was also greatly affected. Murder NOVLB//in.C///om. However, Hongye can't manage so much. This is the last step, and you can't give up no matter what. Everyone still wait here, so as not to suffer some flesh and blood. Another 6-star Do D strong man, Hong Yi, a man in black, also said. Your Excellency is acting as an enemy of our entire Shentian Santian, so you are not afraid. Chang Yu also said slowly. Although Chang Yu is the strength of the 7-star Do Emperor, but his body is sluggish. In addition, although the man in black in front of him is only a 6-star Do Emperor, he vaguely gives Chang Yu a different feeling, so Chang Yu also has no first place. Start at once. But the most important thing is that Chang Yu wants to protect Mu Yingying and Xiao Yang. These 2 rare seedlings cannot tolerate any mistakes. You don't need to take Shen Santian to oppress me, just use people's money to relieve people's disasters. The man in black said slowly. But don't worry, as long as you don't move, I won't be difficult for you. After all, I don't have too many obligations to help him. Hongye also said coldly, apparently holding a grudge against his subordinates who had just been swallowed by evil spirits. When Chang Yu heard the words, he shook his head and didn't say anything. The man in front of him didn't show any signs of making a move, so he simply put his eyes on the explosion in the sky. At this time, the explosion was nearing its end. I saw that in the center of the explosion, where is the existence of the famous twin Ghost Emperors and evil spirit. Looking at it, some are just a group of slightly illusory figures slowly emerging. The twin Ghost Emperors were actually killed by Xiao Yang. Chang Yu was also surprised. Obviously, Chang Yu just knew that Xiao Yang's attack must be extraordinary, but the twin Ghost Emperor Inxie, who was as powerful as the 8th-rank Ghost Emperor, was forcibly killed by Xiao Yang. This is a real kill. Even if Xiao Yang used the power of the 3 7-star fighting emperors and killed the twin Ghost Emperors, it was a real kill. This kid is really a monster. Chang Yu also laughed. Obviously Xiao Yang's actions from the beginning to the end were all taken into his heart by Chang Yu, so he was quite appreciated. It seems that we can only go first, otherwise there are many human beings here. The man in black also said in a low voice, and then without hesitation, the speed suddenly skyrocketed, breaking free from the obstruction of the 9 Soul Monument, and went straight towards that illusory figure violently away. Damn it! If it weren't for the excessive amount of fighting chi in the body, how would I allow a character like you to jump so much in front of me? The 9 Soul Monument was also angrily said. Compared with people who are weaker than himself, it is inevitable that he will be a little unconvinced. Yuquan also ignored the movement of the 9 Soul Monument, and the next moment, he appeared next to the illusory figure, and then his eyes were hidden by the black clothes, revealing a greedy look. Immediately, when the 9 Souls Monument was stunned, he opened his huge black mouth and suddenly swallowed the illusory figure left by the twin Ghost Emperors. Damn! At this time, Xiao Yang's pupils also shrank tightly, and then it was slightly inconceivable. Master, this ghost world still has this kind of exercise. Xiao Yang also found that the man in black's devouring method was quite domineering, but more of it was the power of evil. This devouring doesn't seem to belong to the ghost world. Maybe this man in black is not a ghost in the ghost world. It's a bit like what humans use. The Golden Dragon King also said solemnly. But I have to say, your kid succeeded. What a daring boy. The Golden Dragon King's admiring voice also slowly entered Xiao Yang's mind. Hee hee. Xiao Yang also laughed when he heard the words. Obviously, the terrifying power brought by the fusion of soul power and spiritual power just now made Xiao Yang quite satisfied, until the last two powers and the perfect combination of the Lotus of Silence, the power is even better. At this time, don't look at Xiao Yang's strength in the early stage of the 4-star Do Emperor, and only give a certain amount of time to condense the Lotus of Annihilation. Even the powerhouse at the peak of the 4-star Do Emperor has a battle. As for the more powerful 5-star Do Di, Xiao Yang also has the confidence to not fall behind. This is Xiao Yang's greatest resource. But I have to say that this Soul Eater Talisman's restraint on the twin Ghost Emperors is really powerful. Originally, I only thought of re-injuring the Ghost Emperors. I didn't expect the power of this Soul Eater Talisman to be so terrifying. It actually killed the twin Ghost Emperors and destroyed them. The body of the twin Ghost Emperors was finally found, thus making the soul of the twin Ghost Emperors sluggish. This Soul Eater Talisman is really a good thing. Xiao Yang also grinned. After consulting with his master, the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yang also laughed, and then his eyes suddenly saw Mu Yingying beside him. At this moment, Mu Yingying had a lot of sweat on her forehead, and her breath was also one after another, very unstable. Just now. Thank you very much. Xiao Yang also raised his hand, and an extremely gentle flame energy slowly entered Mu Yingying's body. Seeing this, Mu Yingying also slightly wrinkled her eyes. She hesitated and accepted Xiao Yang's power. After all, it was still a corpse forest, so she couldn't relax. It's not worth the effort. Mu Yingying also smiled at Xiao Yang. The man in black is going to run away. Chang Yu's low voice also interrupted the conversation between Xiao Yang and Mu Yingying. Let's go. After Yu Quan devoured the souls of the twin Ghost Emperors, the aura in his body also skyrocketed, and two completely different forces spread wildly in his body. Stop him, absolutely can't let him escape. He devoured the soul of the twin Ghost Emperors. The 9-soul monument roared angrily. So many of them finally killed the twin Ghost Emperors. As long as their souls are brought back and handed over to the superpowers of Xian Santian to deal with, then the twin Ghost Emperors will not turn over. Hu Du, Wu Jiang Xiaoye and Juhun Monument also nodded, and then slowly surrounded the secluded spring and Hongye. Come on. We are not their opponents. Yu Quan also uttered the last sentence, trying his best to suppress the backlash of the twin Ghost Emperor's souls in his body. It is not an easy task to devour the souls of the twin Ghost Emperors. If it weren't for the fact that there were too many strong human beings here, Yu Quan would definitely not choose to directly devour this extremely unsafe method. So now I am doing my best to suppress the backlash of the twin Ghost Emperor's souls, otherwise, once it is backlashed, Yu Quan will also be controlled by the twin Ghost Emperor's souls and become the evil twin Ghost Emperors just now. Go. Hongye also knew that the two of them would definitely not be the opponent's opponent at this time, and then his eyes sank slightly, and then the terrifying space shattered instantly. At the same time, the space of the entire infernal corpse forest was broken. Come. Let's go. Hongye didn't hesitate either, supporting the secluded spring and disappearing in this corpse forest. Damn. There is actually such a hand. This infernal corpse forest is also a stronghold in the ghost world. I didn't expect them to be willing to detonate the space here. The 9 Souls Monument also said viciously. Stop chasing, the space of this corpse forest is about to collapse, let's take these players out first. Chang Yu's voice appeared in the mind of the 9 Soul Monument. When several people heard the words, they had no choice but to do it, but they didn't expect it to come back without success in the end. Damn. Sure enough, it's still a wrong move. The 9 Souls Monument also said indignantly, obviously something went wrong in the last step of subduing the twin Ghost Emperors. Wu Jiang, Hu Du, take the people away. Chang Yu suddenly triggered a grudge in his body, forming 2 space passages in the corpse forest that was facing the collapse. This mysterious restriction that can only be entered but not out of the corpse forest was also instantly disintegrated when the twin Ghost Emperors were killed by Xiao Yang. But I have to say that the twin Ghost Emperors were so terrified that they didn't even know how they were killed by Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang's terrifying Lotus of Annihilation attacked Yin Xie's body abruptly, but with the strength of the twin Ghost Emperors, 8th rank Ghost Emperors, it was not enough to kill him. It's just that the mysterious power of the soul-devouring talisman exploded suddenly when the Lotus of Annihilation touched the twin Ghost Emperors, and then turned into a huge force of restraint, suppressing the twin Ghost Emperors to death. At the same time, the terrifying power of the Lotus of Annihilation was also swept away instantly, so the twin Ghost Emperors did not have time to use any means, and they were said to be killed. However, this cannot be blamed for the arrogance of the twin Ghost Emperor Inxia. After all, even if Inxia died, he would not know that that power was the power of the evil soldiers in the Ghost World. Among the 12 evil soldiers in the Ghost World, their rarity is comparable to that of Holy Flame, so it is no wonder that the twin Ghost Emperors would end up like this. Until this time, the twin Ghost Emperors Inxia also completely fell. Ghosts in the Ghost World are different from humans. The Ghost World is basically a dead soul body, so after falling, it becomes a soul. There is a fighting spirit in the human body, and a death can also condense the power of the soul to escape, so as to find an opportunity to resurrection. Most of the ghosts in the Ghost World come from this way. It's just that after the Ghost Emperor fell, for some reason, it condensed into a trace of soul, and that soul is the symbol of the Ghost Emperor. This is also the fall of the twin Ghost Emperors without a real meaning, because as long as there is a Ghost Emperor's soul, it will not be long before a Ghost Emperor will emerge in Du. As for the Ghost Emperor's soul, the powerhouses of the super sect of Xian Santian have also worked together to study it, but they haven't found a way to destroy it. This point-grabbing competition is over. Everyone, come with me. Hu Du took the lead in saying, and then his voice spread throughout every participating disciple. As Hu Du's voice fell, the eyes of countless people on the ground also turned to Xiao Yang, who was a little weak in the sky. Because they all knew that if Xiao Yang didn't turn the tide in the end of this point-grabbing competition, then their consequences would be extremely tragic. Everyone on the ground also looked at each other, and without hesitation, Do Qi instantly emerged, and then headed towards the second passage. The point-grabbing competition is over, and the rest is to choose the sect. Let's go too. Xiao Yang and the others should keep the broken ones. Luo Guang also said slightly, and then Luo Guang also saw Mu Feng and Yu Yu flying straight into the sky. They are also clear that the biggest beneficiaries of this point-plundering competition are several people in the sky, but there is nothing to be unconvinced, because without them, the people at this time of terror have become the mouths of the twin Ghost Emperors. Remnant. The second space continued to have the contestants escape in an orderly manner. Let's go too. Xiao Yang also said in a low voice, now that his body has already entered the state where the lamp is exhausted, but fortunately he succeeded. This kid. Xiao Ye also looked at each other and smiled. At the beginning, I just had similar interests. I didn't expect you to save my life today. Xiao Ye also laughed. Xiao Ye, you have worked so hard for you all these years. From now on, you have regained your freedom. After the Nine Souls Monument finished speaking, a milky white light flashed on Xiao Ye's body and then said it was annihilated. I've been waiting for this day for a long time. Xiao Ye also said with a smile, and then greeted Xiao Yang and left calmly, but before leaving, she still asked Xiao Yang to cancel the previous agreement, and Xiao Ye also found it. There are other ways to save the Silver Blue Thunder Wolf King, so there is no need to trouble Xiao Yang. So far, the transaction between Xiao Ye and Xiao Yang has been cancelled, but the two have become good friends. This time, thank you so much. Chang Yu also said to Xiao Yang in a loving voice. Senior, you're polite. Xiao Yang also said politely. When Xiao Yang turned to look at Mu Yingying before, he found that Mu Yingying was staring at him constantly, as if she was looking for something. But I have to say that Mu Yingying is also quite charming under careful observation. Hey, let's go. Xiao Yang said to Mu Yingying, and then he no longer hesitated, and left with a few people around him to face the space. At this time, the infernal corpse forest was also close to collapsing. Yeah. Mu Yingying replied softly, and then with a wave of her beautiful ponytails, she took the heavenly fire sacred tiger to catch up with Xiao Yang and the others. I really don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing to lose the souls of the twin Ghost Emperors. Chang Yu murmured, and then disappeared in the corpse forest. With the disappearance of Chang Yu, the corpse forest also completely collapsed. In the future, there is also no place for the infernal grove. That kid Inxia was killed by humans just after breaking through the seal. A pretentious ghost emperor, it's really ridiculous. A slender figure in the immortal seat also said in a distant place. The figure above the Xian seat is filled with ghostly energy, but its aura is much stronger than the evil spirits. In the dark space passage, Xiao Yang was also relieved. This point-plundering competition is finally over. In addition to the evil soldier in the ghost world, the Soul Eater talisman, The gains of this trip are not without, but after leaving the corpse forest, Xiao Yang also found that the fighting spirit in his body seemed to be faintly fainted. Signs about a breakout. This made Xiao Yang quite satisfied. After all, he had just broken through the 4-star Dodi a few months ago, and his strength showed signs of breakthrough in a short period of time, so he was inevitably a little excited. The current self is the strength of the 4-star Do Emperor in the early stage. After this point plundering competition is over, and after joining the sect, he will be able to break through to the middle of the 4-star Do Emperor as a matter of course. However, Xiao Yang also knew very well that the sign of his breakthrough this time was due to the battle between himself and the twin ghost emperors. Xiao Yang was also aware of the importance of power at this time. If it weren't for the pure fighting chi of the 3 7-star Do Emperor powerhouses, and by coincidence with himself, he obtained the Soul Eater talisman to restrain the twin ghost emperors, giving Xiao Yang 10 lives. Xiao Yang is definitely not going to be this early bird, but fortunately Xiao Yang succeeded. Just after leaving the infernal corpse forest and entering the space tunnel, Xiao Yang also found that the players who participated in the point-grabbing competition this time also looked at him differently, as if there was a trace of respect, and Xiao Yang was quite puzzled by this. "You kid is really worrying." A relieved voice also entered Xiao Yang's ears. "Hee hee." Xiao Yang also smiled and scratched his head, then looked at Chang Yu. Chang Yu is the deputy pavilion owner of the Funxiang Pavilion's outer pavilion, and he must also be in charge of this competition. "Senior, this time the point-grabbing competition encounters such an unexpected event, so how is the final ranking calculated?" Xiao Yang also suddenly remembered, this is what Xiao Yang cares about the most. After all, only the first place can enter the imperial pool of the Ling royal family. "It's true that we were negligent in this competition, but fortunately you turned the tide in the end, so this time we plan to let you, Mu Yingying and Mu Feng, go to the imperial pond. As for the first place," Chang Yu said here, but also smiled slowly, and then stopped talking. Xiao Yang felt relieved when he heard that Chang Yu said that he had the qualifications to enter the imperial pond. Since he already has the qualifications to enter the imperial pond, these rankings are also in vain, and the number 1 rank is no longer important. "Hey, Xiao Yang, you may not know something, then the first place is you." Mu Feng also said excitedly from the side, obviously not dissatisfied or other emotions because Xiao Yang won the first place. Some are just excited and happy for Xiao Yang. But what makes Mu Feng the most happy is that he also has the qualifications to enter the imperial pond, which is very pleasing. "What? Am I the number 1? Xiao Yang was also at a loss, remembering that he was in the top 10 on top of his points. "As for the number 1, shouldn't it be Mu Yingying? You are the first. If it wasn't for you to turn the tide in the end, then we would have been completely in the infernal corpse forest." Mu Yingying also said in a silver bell-like voice. "Yeah." Xiao Yang also took care of it. "Originally, I didn't care too much about these rankings, just to get the qualification to enter the royal pool of the Xianling royal family. But there are things that make countless humans crazy. Holy flame. Even if there is only a slight chance, Xiao Yang will definitely not give up. After all, something like holy flame is too precious. Hey, why are you like this? I kindly gave you the first place, don't you even say thank you? Mu Yingying bit her lips, and then stared at Xiao Yang viciously, unhappy. Then I'll thank you for him. Yueru also stepped forward and said to Mu Yingying. Sometimes, a woman's intuition is very powerful. For example, at this time, Yu felt that Mu Yingying seemed to have other thoughts about Xiao Yang. Mu Yingying was also filled with grievances by this sudden scene. Just as she was about to exit, she was stopped by the heavenly fire sacred tiger beside her. You little auntie, this woman has a strange aura, a bit like the aura of an inheritor. Tianhua sacred tiger whispered beside Mu Yingying. When Mu Yingying heard it, she had no choice but to do it. The reason why Mu Yingying was interested in Xiao Yang was that Xiao Yang had an aura she was familiar with. Xiao Yang looked at the two who were constantly arguing, shook his head with a headache, and then discussed with Mu Feng. Then what exactly is the imperial pond? Xiao Yang also asked curiously. I don't know the specifics. After all, the imperial pond is the most precious thing in the Xianling royal family, and the guards are extremely strict. Even the 7-star Do Emperor powerhouses dare not go there rashly. However, one thing is certain, the imperial pond must be a good thing, otherwise the Xianling imperial family would not have taken it out. Mu Feng also said. Having said that, maybe the Xianling imperial family is using this imperial pond to lure contestants to join them. After all, as long as you join them, you are also eligible to enter the imperial pond. It's just a group of vain humans. Chang Yu also said slowly. It seems that the relationship between the Burning Incense Pavilion and the Xianling royal family is not very good. Xiao Yang also quickly calculated in his heart after hearing this. At this time, they were in the space passage. According to Chang Yu's words, when they left the space passage, they had to go up the mountain and choose a sect. So Xiao Yang also had to make plans early to join that sect. However, you don't have to be burdened. No matter which sect you join, with your talents, you will be able to obtain a lot of resources, and your future will be smooth. Chang Yu also said, I don't know. When will the Do Di pill be distributed? Xiao Yang also hurriedly changed the subject, but Xiao Yang remembered clearly that the top 10 players in this point-grabbing competition could have a Do Di pill. It is only a matter of time before his current strength breaks through the middle stage of the 4-star Do Di, and when the Do Di pill is added, he will suddenly become the strength of the late 4-star Do Chi. This is what makes Xiao Yang excited. Haha, what a shrewd little guy. Chang Yu also laughed. Don't worry, when you join the sect, it will be distributed to you. Chang Yu said with a smile. Let's go, it's the end. After you go out from this space passage, you will reach the foot of the mountain. The messengers of various sects are also waiting for you at the top of the mountain. When you join the sect, they will take you directly to your own sect. Here. Chang Yu also said. Be careful with the Xianling royal family and Solomon. Just when Xiao Yang discovered that a door of light appeared in the space passage, a voice also sounded in his heart, and it was Chang Yu's voice transmission. Chang Yu originally wanted to interfere, but the talents of Xiao Yang and the others were no trivial matter. If they joined their Burning Incense Pavilion, it's just that Chang Yu was worried that it would backfire, so he had no choice but to do it. When Xiao Yang heard this, he was also quite relieved. It seemed that the people in the Burning Incense Pavilion were all good. Xian Santian, let me Xiao Yang come to meet you. Xiao Yang also laughed, and without hesitation, his figure moved and disappeared into the space passage. The bright mountain path, with hundreds of stone steps from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain, one step at a time. If you feel it roughly, you can feel that there are many powerful breaths on the top of the mountain. If you look at it, you will find it impressively. There seem to be many figures on the top of the mountain. On the stone steps, people are constantly walking, and they are trying to climb hard, but without exception, these people are all players who participated in the point-grabbing competition this time. In this way, you can choose a satisfactory sect, join it, and learn a skill. A man with a heavy ruler on his back also walked slowly. Behind him, Mu Yingying, Yueru and Mu Feng followed closely. Speaking of which, where are the seniors of the 9 Souls Steely and the Skyfire Sacred Tiger? Yueru also found something and asked. Senior 9 Soul Monument went to look for the lost twin ghost emperor's soul. As for Tianhua Shenghu, he left to experience it. Mu Yingying also said slightly. Xiao Yang was not surprised when he heard this. After all, Xiao Yang had already expected these things. As for the leaders of Chang Yu and Wu Jiang, they disappeared after entrusting Xiao Yang and them with some things. Obviously, they ended the point-grabbing competition and went back. It's just that Xiao Yang felt that the Holy Fire Tiger was quite strange that day, and the flame power in his body was also quite powerful, but no matter what Xiao Yang was, the Holy Fire Tiger ignored him that day, and only the blue flame on Mu Yingying's body could make her. He is willing to serve. As for Xiao Yang's words, Tianhua Shenghu treats him like a fool. This also makes Xiao Yang quite puzzled. The flame in his body is a different fire, and the blue flame on Mu Yingying's body is powerful, but according to Xiao Yang's perception, it is not a holy flame, at most it is a different fire than himself. More powerful. Otherwise, if Xiao Yang can subdue this heavenly fire sacred tiger, it will be a great help, but I know Xiao Yang, this kind of thing cannot be forced. As for Xiao Yi, since he woke up, except when he was possessed by Xiao Yang, he would be attached to Xiao Yang's body. Normally, he would not be able to return the Neijing in Xiao Yang's body. Because at this time Xiao Yi was already looking like a young man, and would never go to the former fire spirit again. But this is also a good thing. After all, the current Xiao Yi has also grown into a young man, and has the strength of the early stage of the 7-star Do Emperor. Xiao Yang was also quite happy about this, but Xiao Yang lowered his hidden strength to the level of a 5-star fighting emperor, and then followed him. Let's go. Xiao Yang said slowly, then walked away on the stone steps. By the way, Xiao Yang, you want to join that sect? As far as I know, the Xianling royal family and Solomon have a bad reputation. Mu Feng also said. If nothing else happens. Fenxiang Pavilion. Xiao Yang said lightly, and he didn't look back after speaking, and strode away towards the stone steps. Fenxiang Pavilion. Mu Yingying bit her lips, and then murmured, as if she was thinking about something. The group of 5 also walked towards the top of the mountain. When passers-by saw Xiao Yang, they also smiled at Xiao Yang. Obviously, if there was no Xiao Yang in this point-grabbing competition, then they would not be able to have today. On the top of the mountain, surrounded by clouds and smoke, dozens of terrifying breaths also spread from the top of the mountain. With the news from the Yin Corpse forest, the senior leaders of the 9 super sects were also furious and wanted to send strong men to deal with the twin ghost emperors, but there were few strong men above Do's Yan in the sect, and some of them also entered. Retreat, but Emperor Do's strength can't break the prohibition of Infernal Corpse Forest, so he had no choice but to do it immediately. However, as news came, a boy named Xiao Yang, with the blessing of the fighting chi of the 3 7-star Do Emperor powerhouses, fought against the injured twin ghost emperors and killed the twin ghost emperor. This kind of record, even if it is placed in Shen Santian, where the powerhouse is like a cloud, is enough to shake the quartet. That was a twin ghost emperor at the 8th rank ghost emperor level, comparable to a human 8-star fighting emperor, but he was actually killed by an unknown boy. It was a joke by others. Haha, that kid is already at the foot of the mountain, everyone. A middle-aged man with a full face also laughed. Listening to the rumors from Changyu, Yu and Wu Jiang, many people in this point-grabbing competition have made outstanding performances, and they are some good seedlings. Qi then said to a man in a red robe beside him. Indeed. The red-robed man also laughed. Having said that, I just don't know who the top 10 talented newcomers will fly down this time, said a burly man. Hey, I don't know if your burning incense pavilion will be as unattended as last time. A thin middle-aged man slowly said to a figure in a red robe. The 12th envoy of Solomon, don't go too far. Wasn't the one leading the leader the same Chang Yu that Xiao Yang had seen before? Hey, don't be angry, just tell the truth. The thin man also said slowly. Humph. Don't think that everyone will join your sect just because of your little advantage. Chang Yu also said angrily. That's why I don't have to worry about the deputy pavilion master of Fenxiang Pavilion. The thin man said. Humph. Is the 12th ranked Solomon watchdog worthy of yelling at me? It is better to let your first 3 sect masters come, so that you are qualified to compete with me. Chang Yu also said relentlessly. You. The skinny man known as Solomon's 12th sect master also had a very strange expression on his face. This Chang Yu is really hateful, actually humiliating him in front of the 9 super sect. If it wasn't for his strength only in the early stage of the 7-star Do D, he would definitely fight against this Chang Yu. However, he had no choice but to clench his fists and shook his head slightly. Hee, don't quarrel, today is not here to quarrel. Above the main seat, there is this elegant figure, whose figure later carries 2 swords, whose color is as crystal clear as jade. Seeing the person in charge of Wanjian sect speak, Solomon's 12th sect master and Chang Yu also stopped arguing. Because the strength of the one in front of him is comparable to that of the twin ghost emperors, everyone will not easily offend him. More importantly, this Wan Jianmen is the head of the 9 super sect. Because there are too many sects in the Shentian 3 days, every 10 years, a sect competition will be held. The purpose is to test the mainstay of each sect, but it is actually a competition between these sects. Because the Xianling royal family only allowed 9 super sects within the Shentian 3 days, and the others could be regarded as small sects. After all, these 9 super sects live alone in 9 mountains with extremely strong imperial energy, so this is the reason why there are only 9 super sects. Survival of the fittest. If the sects ranked in the 9 super sects do not absorb some fresh blood and thus cultivate some outstanding disciples, the status of the super sects will also be lost. However, the sect competition held every 10 years is basically a contest between the younger generation of the 9 super sects and the Xianling royal family, and other forces rarely appear. After careful calculation, there are still 8 years left until the 10-year sect competition. When Xiao Yang and the others came to the top of the mountain, they saw that dozens of strong men not far away had been waiting for a long time. On the side were Luo Guang and several people who were among the top 10 in the points-grabbing competition. In addition to Xiao Yang here, a total of 15 people. Is this the recipient of the 9 super sects? The strength is really unfathomable. Xiao Yang also murmured. On the top of the mountain, dozens of recipients representing the 9 super sects walked in the air, and then Xiao Yang and the others watched from a distance on the ground, but the distance between them was not far. Very close. It seems that the top 10 this time seem to have some good seedlings. The elegant woman also looked at the 15 people on the ground and said slowly, "The graceful woman is the messenger of the Heartless Palace, who is specially responsible for the reception of the newcomer this time. Hey, even though your disciples from the Heartless Palace are the smallest among our 9 sects, their strength is undoubtedly outstanding, so this time. An old man dressed in expensive alchemist clothes also spoke slowly. The old man is the strong man in the Alchemy Valley, and the pharmacist is naturally a hornet's nest that no one dares to provoke, not to mention that the current Alchemy Valley has been condensed into a whole, and the pharmacist and the strong who serve the pharmacist emerge in an endless stream, so this is also determined. Pill Valley's status among the 9 sects. Hehe, your Pill Valley is not bad. Every time a newcomer joins your Pill Valley, you can get extremely huge resources. I believe that this time, many of these little guys must be running for you. Yongya from the Palace of Heartless Love, the woman, also said slowly. Ha ha ha, then I'll borrow your auspicious words. The old man in Dangu also burst into laughter, obviously quite satisfied with this free choice system. After all, everyone knows that pharmacists are the group with the most wealth and resources, and there is no other profession that can compare to them. After all, whether it is the strong appeal of pharmacists, many strong people are called to them, and it is no exaggeration that pharmacists have been imbued with magical powers since ancient times. They have refined medicinal herbs with mysterious effects through specific prescriptions and medicinal materials. These two make the pharmacist's identity soar. The open and secret struggle between each other. A sharp-eyed man also slowly shook his head, and then his eyes turned to Xiao Yang's position. Now Xiao Yang and the others are still some distance away from them, and they immediately looked at them. Is that the champion of this point-grabbing competition? Although the aura is only the strength of the 4-star Do Di in the early days, the killing intent emanating from his body cannot be concealed. This kid is definitely not a flower growing in a greenhouse. The man was clearly a powerhouse in Purgatory Hall, and he nodded in satisfaction immediately. No matter what the price, this kid has to be pulled into our Purgatory Hall, and this kid will become a great weapon in the future. The people in Purgatory Hall also quickly calculated in their hearts, because he often deals with evil things in the devil and ghost worlds. Naturally, he could recognize Xiao Yang's extraordinariness at a glance. This boy with a heavy weight on his back, the soul power on his body is really terrifying. The old man with the medicinal pill also slowly stared at Xiao Yang in the distance and muttered. As we all know, soul power is related to the strength of the alchemist. After all, a powerful alchemist needs a huge soul perception, so as to control the flame, in order to refine higher-level medicinal pills, and the cultivation method of soul power. There are very few high-level alchemists, so high-level pharmacists are quite rare. So after the old man of pills felt the invisible soul power in Xiao Yang's body, he nodded with satisfaction, as if have any plans in general. This girl with 2 ponytails is quite good. If she can enter my sect, then the future sect competition will definitely be able to achieve dazzling achievements. Our Wanhua has been silent for so many years, so it's time to be calm. A rather beautiful woman also stared at Mu Yingying and smiled slowly, then said to herself, "Damn it. They're all old foxes." Chang Yu also scolded secretly, because he participated in the point-grabbing competition. He naturally knew about the terrifying potential of Xiao Yang, Mu Yingying and Mu Feng, and was immediately accused of Xiao Yang by the people around him. Yang and several people are so ill-conceived, it is inevitable that they are a little unhappy. Damn boys, they actually ruined our good deeds. If I find an opportunity in the future, I will definitely avenge the twin ghost emperors. Solomon, a strong man, said fiercely in his heart, obviously resenting Xiao Yang and the others. Next to the strong Solomon, a man wearing an expensive dragon robe also slowly appeared from the void. As soon as the man appeared, there was a terrifying wave on his body. This one is the current emperor of the Xianling royal family, King Xianling. Legend has it that he had been promoted to the ranks of the 9-star Do Emperor as early as decades ago, and now his strength is even more unfathomable. Why is this guy here? The old Dangu frowned, obviously not interested in this mysterious royal family, just out of courtesy, and other etiquette is still essential. How come King Xianling is free to come here? I have lost a long way to welcome, and I am sorry. The old man of Pill Valley also said slowly, after all, whether it is himself or the owner of Pill Valley, seeing this King Xianling is all about respectfully. I heard that there are quite a few good faces in this point-snatching competition. This king is just free. Stop by and have a look. It would be quite gratifying if these newcomers joined my Xianling royal family in good face. King Xianling smiled slowly, and then said nothing more. Damn bastard, shameless. Chang Yu said in anger. As we all know, this Solomon and the Xianling royal family are very close, and in recent years, the Xianling royal family has been invited by some unknown people. Now the arrival of the Shenling King is undoubtedly came here for some pretty good seedlings this time. With the terrifying strength level of the 9-star Do Emperor, and some means of enticement, then Xiao Yang and the others would have followed his path. That would really outweigh the gains, because if Xiao Yang and the others could join the Fenxiang Pavilion, their future achievements would never be lower. Their Burning Incense Pavilion hasn't had outstanding new disciples for a long time. If things go on like this, it's hard to keep their name as a super sect. Xiao Yang is also slowly moving towards the many strong men who are walking in the air. There are 10 people who are already waiting for them. As soon as they arrive, the most outstanding 15 people will also start to choose the sect. Door. What a terrifying fluctuation. Xiao Yang also appeared in the sky at the moment when the gorgeous Shenling King appeared. Even if they were far apart, even the Do Chi in his body had some solidified changes. 9-star Do D, it's no longer a distinction between junior high school and late middle school, it's for the 9th rank, above the 9th rank. It's a fighting fairy. The Golden Dragon King's voice also said slowly. However, this Shenling King's breath is a little weird. Although it is small, it seems to have a faint smell of holy flame. The Golden Dragon King said in a voice that only he could hear. This video will end here.